Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel My Time, My Teacher. In this video, we will talk about class 12th, chapter number 4 of first book, The Market as a Social Institution. Usually we think that market is just a place where we people are just going to buy and sell the things. But in this chapter we will come to know that how market is also having a social relation. See, whenever we go to the market, we would love to go to the market with one of our friends. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three. Maybe if we talk about our parents, our father, mother, our aunt, or whomsoever. The people usually love to go along with some other people, not all alone. Whenever we are going to the market with somebody else, we don't talk about the market only. We talk about different things in the society. We talk about different people. We talk about different issues. That is the social relation of the market. Here we will see how different it is as we were thinking till now, how the market is going to prove to be one of the social institution in our society. Let's see, first of all, I have written here the number of headings which I am going to describe in this video. For example, the social aspect, the economic aspect of the society, of the market, the types, Jajmani system, colonial period, social organization, capitalism, commodification, globalization, and at last liberalization. These all headings I will cover in this video. So please watch carefully, and if you have not subscribed till now, please subscribe. Let's start with the social aspect of the market. As I told you, whenever we are going to the market, we usually go with somebody else and we talk about different issues. At the time, the issues which we talk about, it is not sure that they are regarding us only. It may be with some other person, with some other caste, with some other religion that we discuss. Secondly, the person with whom we are going, it is not sure that the person is from the same caste, from the same family which I belong to. If it belongs to some other caste, some other religion, some other region, then the impact of the person directly comes to my shopping. Whatever I am going to purchase, that is to be affected by that person's choice. Because sometimes I am going to mix my culture, my choice with that of my friend, with that of my companion. This is how it is going to mix with others, going to affect my choice. Next thing is, it is also having the economic aspect of the market. What is the economic aspect? Just money related. What we do, we sell, we buy. If we talk about any market, maybe grocery market, cloth market, jewelry market, whatever animal market, we just deal with the money. Either we buy something or we sell something in the market. You know, this buying and selling is sometimes giving us profit, sometimes losses. But ultimately it is going to prove helpful in the economic growth of the country. This is just because of the market that the country is growing. The producers are coming to the market, the sellers are coming to the market, the buyers are coming to the market. And ultimately, all of them are going to contribute towards the nation's development. Without money, we do not have anything here in the market. Another aspect is the markets. We have two types of market. One is weekly market, another is regular market. What is weekly market? Weekly market is the market which arranges something on a one day of the week, maybe on Mondays, maybe Tuesdays, maybe Wednesdays, whatever a day they choose from a week, and that is arranged every week on the same day. This is found everywhere in the country, in the urban areas in the form of vegetable markets, in the rural areas in the form of grocery market, animal market, vegetable market, everywhere. Regular markets are the markets which we usually see, that we find, and we can go on any days and buy the things from there. These are the markets called regular, these are called the weeklies. Weekly market, here in the book we have an example of a Dhurai village. Dhurai village, that is in Bastar. Example of Dhurai village weekly market is given in the book, NCERT book. So here we will see that how this Dhurai village market is there. Usually the tribals are coming there, it's a tribal market. Tribals are coming to that weekly market. Tribals, they are related with the forest, they are coming to the market with their produce, whatever they get, they have collected from the forest. It can be honey, it can be timber, it can be vegetables, it can be fruits, it can be the baskets made up of bamboo sticks. It may be anything. They are coming to the weekly market, they are selling them all, and after selling whatever money they are getting, they are using the money to purchase the things, especially the groceries and the clothes, for themselves for the next week. During that process, in weekly markets at Bastar, there are so many people who are coming to the market. The money lenders are coming, the snake charmers are coming, magicians are coming, those who are also earning their money from there. One another thing which we have regarding this, there is a circle. A circle is there in weekly market, and how the circles are arranged? They are arranged according to the caste system. The sailors of one particular caste will sit at circle number 1. Another caste. The circles are arranged according to the caste. That is the social relation of this weekly market with the tribals, with other people. By looking at the sitting place of the sailor, you can easily identify the caste of that person. This is how we can easily identify, and we can treat accordingly. Not only the people, those who are coming here, are only the sailors. There are so many government officials also who are coming here, especially the people, those who are just ruling, those who are in charge of that locality. They come, they keep on, have a watch on the market throughout the day. Because it was a day when this place is particularly busy while the people are coming and going throughout the day. Otherwise, usually this place remains quite silent. Moreover, the government officials, they are giving salaries, the money to the people, those who are working as a laborer in the government jobs. For example, cutting of the trees, plantation, or maybe some other jobs. So they are getting their money on that particular day so that they can buy groceries for their home, for their family. The one aspect of this. Another aspect is that we have Jajmani system. What is Jajmani system? Jajmani system is basically we are giving goods in return of the work. Like nowadays you can see we are just paying the job. The people are giving money in place of the job, but earlier it was not like that. Mostly people, they were doing this Jajmani system. They were following that. When the work is done for a long duration, and for the work they were paid in kind, not in cash. For example, if we talk about the villages, you see the farmers are there in the villages and they usually get the production of the crops twice a year. So whenever they are getting the production, they are paying it to the people, those who are working for them. For example, the barbers, the shepherds, the cleaners, right? Goldsmith, blacksmith, whenever they are getting the production of the grains, they are giving a certain part of that to these laborers, to these workers. And again for the 6 months they are working for them. Again when the production comes of the crop, they are getting the work. They are getting the share of their own, whatever they have. This is called the Jajmani system, not paying in cash but paying in kind. So that was also available in the Bastar market and this Dhurai market, because the people, those who were buying something from there, if they were not able to pay in cash, they could also pay in kind. For example, they could pay in grains or something else, giving one item and buying the another item from those people, the sailors. That was also possible in that area. This is all how this all was happening with these people. Okay, let's come to the next topic. The next topic is colonial period. When the Britishers came, they tried to change the system of the market, not the regular one. They tried to insert cash in the market system and try to organize the market in a different manner so that they can earn the money from the market also. This is how the Britishers did the colonial period. They got like the, for example, Nakaters. These were the people from Tamil Nadu. What these were doing, they were working as money lenders, right? And they introduced another thing, that is hundi. Hundi, what is hundi? It's a kind of modern check. Whatever we have check right now, check book we are getting from the bank, and you can just draw a check in the name of somebody and the person can withdraw money from the bank. The same system was started by the Nakaters. Nakaters, they were supposed to be the starter of the modern banking system during those days. These were the family people, large family they had. So what they did, they introduced the system of money lender. They were sitting in one village, another person was sitting in another village. So they were giving a credit note. What is it? It was basically a credit note, like a check. They were giving it to some person, maybe it can be the businessman or trader or a normal person. You are depositing some money at the Nakaters' house or the office. They were giving you a credit note. You can take the credit note and go to some other place where you can give the credit note to the person and collect cash from them. It changed the trading system a lot, because the traders, the businessmen, those who had to walk a long way, many miles from their place to the another place to buy something, then they were not having the danger of getting looted by the dacoits, because they were having a credit note, not the cash. Earlier, before the introducing of hundi, whenever they were going to some other places, the dacoits usually looted them and it was not possible for them to treat it. So they were just going to be looted and the money was gone. This was quite a good thing, hundi, for the money lenders as well as for the traders. If you see the business, how it changed, now instead of getting in kind, the people were getting cash. They were selling their production, getting money, and the money was used for anything. You don't need to take 10 kilo of gehu, 20 kg of bajra to some other place. You were just supposed to take cash in your pocket and give it to the person, the shopkeeper, and buy whatever you wanted to buy. That was the system, how it was done. Earlier, the people, the Indian system market was just here only for exporting the raw materials to the foreign countries. But when the Britishers came, they started to produce the things here, to process them here in India only without going anywhere else. It was easy for everyone, because just because of that, the people could produce the things here at a less cost, and they could send the things outside. Moreover, the jobs were given to a lot of people, which also changed the economic status of the people. This is how the colonial period changed the system. Next is the social organization of the market. What is social organization? For example, Marwadis and Vaishyas. These are the two communities which are basically known for business. During the colonial period, what the Marwadis do, they establish their occupation, their factories or their business. They were not worried about the freedom struggle or something else and all that. They were just focusing on the business. During the British period, they did well and they established their business. After that, when India got independent, they continued the same business and became the trader again in the independent India. They didn't change anything after independence. So nowadays, whatever you think, the people that are business people or the business tycoons, they are basically the Marwadis who started the business there, especially in Kolkata. And now that has increased a lot everywhere in the country. You can see that the Marwadis are the people, those who are very renowned for their business. The second name comes is Vaishya. Vaishya, since Varnas were introduced, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, from then onwards, the Vaishya are the people, those who are having the business but at the very low level. Low level like shops, the small enterprises, they are, the owners of them are Vaishyas. These are the people, those who completely believe in trade, not in jobs or in any other profession. So these two communities are there which are going to play a major role in this business, in this market forever. Right? So social organization is that we are not going to worry about the interest of the people. If we have these two communities, then you can directly imagine that these two communities would be working for business, not in any other sector. That is the aspect, social organization of the market. The next is capitalism. Whenever we talk about capitalism, we get a name in our mind, that is Karl Marx. What Karl Marx did about capitalism is, he said that capitalism is a system through which the rich people or the owner of the companies, organizations, they are going to divide the society into two parts. The one is haves and the another is have-nots. Haves means the people, those who are rich, the owners of the companies and all that. Have-nots means the labor class who don't have much, who are poor. They were poor at the time of birth. They are poor when they are living and working throughout the life, and they will remain poor until they die, because there is no other chance to get them rich. Why? Because the people they are working, and especially the capitalist people, the rich people, they are going to create a wide gap between the haves and have-nots. They are not interested to give money to them. They ask them to work for extra but pay them less. Because of that, the people remain poor. Karl Marx was always against the capitalist people who do not give sufficient money to those who really want to live there happily. They just want the money for themselves. They want to make profits for themselves. They do not want to share the profit with those people who have done hard work in achieving all this success. So the capitalist people, they were already on the target of Karl Marx. He never wanted them to be happy and to be rich. After this, the next is commodification. This is something very important, commodification. Why it is important, that I am going to tell you. Commodification. First of all, what is commodification? That we should know. Commodification is when the things which are not related to market, when they are treated as a market object and are sold and purchased by the people, it is called commodification. You may have seen that the things, usually the cycle, bicycle, cars, grains, clothes, books, furniture, houses, these are the things which are sold always. So there is nothing new about it. But when the things like human beings are sold, Their body organs are sold. For example, kidney is sold of 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakh rupees. Liver is sold. Any other body part which is like eyes, blood. When these things are sold, that becomes a commodity. The things which is not a commodity but treated as a commodity is called commodification. Right? The people usually see that these things are not to be sold. For example, labor. You are asking somebody to work for the whole day and you are paying at last. That is called commodification. Asking a teacher to teach, asking an engineer to repair something, asking a doctor to treat something. This means you are paying the person for the skill which he has. And the skill is not a thing, it's not a commodity. So that comes under the category commodification. Nowadays commodification is increasing a lot because the people can buy everything. Everything is available in the market. Whatever you see, that is easily available. Next thing is globalization. What is globalization? You see the process I am telling you. Local, then we are reaching towards state, we are reaching toward the country, and then we are reaching to world. This is how something from local and it has reached to the global market. That is called globalization. Alright? Everything is possible nowadays to sell. If you want to sell the product here in local market, in the national market, international market and the world market, that is possible. You can do it all. For example, if you talk about the sites, the merchant sites, Amazon, Flipkart and so on, you can see the product comes from anywhere. It doesn't come from a nearby shop, it comes from anywhere. That is very easy for the product, for the seller to sell it at the price whatever it wants, and for the purchaser who can also purchase it at the lowest price from anywhere. It doesn't matter from where he is buying, but he is getting the lowest price. So it is good for both, for the purchaser as well as for the seller, because they both are earning money out of this globalization. That is the only reason why we have MNCs, why we have BPOs. You see, MNCs, multinational companies, the companies which are working in so many countries, maybe 2, maybe 5, maybe 10. BPOs is also an example of that. For example, in India, the labor is cheaper, then we can easily deal with the customer of America or European countries. This is the only reason why the companies are coming to India and just settling their plants of the production, because it is cheap to produce the items here in India in comparison to America and other Western countries. BPOs, MNCs, they are just doing it all in the same place, because if it is possible to get it at the cheaper cost, they can go anywhere in the world. Now it is not possible that if you are in India, then only you are supposed to take the jobs from Indian people. If you are getting the cheaper job at anywhere in the country, in the world, so you can go there. The effect of globalization, whenever you are giving the job to somebody, to some other country, it is good again for both, for the country where you are asking for the job and for you because you are getting the cheaper work done. BPOs, MNCs, they have changed the complete lifestyle of the country, especially in India, when they are working, because round the clock. So the people, those who are working there, they have also changed a lot. The people, those who are working, they ask the people to open the shops 24 hours. Maybe the gyms, maybe the restaurants, maybe the dhabas, maybe the cab drivers, the transport managers, right? These are the people, those who are also working around the clock. As well as a new family system has been immersed because of this globalization. When the people, husband and wife, they both are working in MNCs and they do not have any routine time. So what they do for the children, they call their parents from village to the cities where they are living in order to take care of the children. How a new system is going to be generated. Before that, what happened? The nuclear families were taking place a lot, because the husband, wife and children, they were living in the cities and the parents were living in the villages. So because of the arrival of MNCs, a new family system is to be initiated in the country. After this globalization, we have liberalization. Liberalization is basically giving freedom to the people. Who? To the people, those who are involved in the market, maybe the sellers or maybe the buyers. Which kind of freedom? You may have heard about the concept of laissez-faire, where the government is having very less control over the market. The customer is free to buy at any cost, the seller is free to sell at any cost. That gives freedom to all. And the market works in a better way. This is how, when the government is having a lot of problems, lot of restrictions on the market, then the customers are also not happy to buy, as well as the sellers are not happy to sell. Ultimately, the loss goes to the country. So this is the new concept, liberalization, which is giving freedom to both. Because of that only we got two systems. One is support price. Support price. Another one is subsidies. Support price, maybe you have heard about MSP. MSP is minimum support price. Meaning government announces the cost of, for example, government is announcing the cost of rice. The cost of rice is like 850 rupees per quintal. Rice, the cost of rice. This is MSP. It means nobody can buy or sell rice below this rate. If you want to buy it at the higher rate, 855, 860, 900, that you can do, but not less than this. This is called minimum support price by the government. Otherwise, the government will buy at this price. You are not supposed to sell it, especially the producers, the farmers, lower than this. That is called MSP. Government gives MSP to everything. Whatever is there, but especially about the crops. Every crop it fixes that. The second one is subsidies. Subsidies is what? For example, we talk about the agriculture tools. Government is giving 10% subsidy to the farmers. If the tool costs 10,000, then the farmer will get it at 9,000, and remaining 1,000, 10%, that will be paid by government to the producer. Right? That is called subsidies. Subsidies are given in many fields, agriculture and some others, where the government is trying to take these people up by helping them economically. This is how these all things are working in order to grow the country. That is, liberalization is the concept which helps everyone, those who are related with the market, and especially somehow we are related with the market as a seller, as a buyer, everyone in the country. So this is a concept which is to be used by all the people, and they all are going to get benefit out of this, right? So this is all how I have just covered the topics briefly. It will be quite helpful to you to revise the chapter and to just understand the concept. If you have any queries regarding anything, you can text me. My mail ID and phone number are also given in the reference box or in the channel's about list. You can do that. Moreover, one thing more, if you wish to see the PPTs and the PDFs of the question answers and all, then you can join my channel, Telegram channel also, with the name of Sociology for class 11th and 12th by Naresh Chaudhary. There also you can see the material. 11th and 12th, both classes are available there, and much more information than this, right? So, thank you very much, and please share with your friends.